Roundtable number 4, transformed industries, and we are going to have some industries that successfully implemented blockchain. And for that, Laurent Benichou is going to be our moderator, Director of R&D at AXA. There you go, that's for you. The panelists right now, Iouri, Sorokine, Marketing and Business Developer at GamerToken, Sebastien Borget, CEO and co-founder at Pixowl, Maxim Lyadvinsky, CEO and co-founder at Bloomio, and then we have Christophe Doré, who is the CEO and co-founder at MoneyTrack.
Okay, so we still have 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So I'm Laurent Benichou. I'm working for AXA indeed, and I think I'm here because I issued a product that leverages the Ethereum blockchain, and this product is Fizzy.AXA. It's an automated flight delay insurance. But I'm here to moderate this this roundtable, and I will ask all of my guests, my 4 guests, to first present themselves in 1 minute, so you all understand what their project is, and then we will go in the heart of the questions. Maybe Iouri, you can start. Iouri, GamerToken.
Hi everyone. So my name is Iouri, and I'm coming from the gaming industry. And GamerToken creates a global marketplace for gamers to trade and exchange in-game items, which are based on non-fungible tokens. So these items are unique with proven digital scarcity, and we provide an open API for any game developer to integrate these blockchain mechanics and tokenize their items. So we target established game developers and publishers, and our ecosystem includes partnerships with influencers and esports stars to provide some uniqueness and some context that make these items valuable.
And you guys are already live or not?
So we are in a demo and on a private blockchain, and we have an MMO integration with our partner, which is Gamigo, which is an established game developer.
Okay. Nice. Maybe Sebastien, you can talk to us about Pixowl.
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Sebastien Borget. I'm CEO and co-founder at Pixowl. We're building the Sandbox. It's a decentralized, community-driven platform where creators can trade and monetize their voxel asset and gaming experience on the blockchain. We're taking our existing mobile hit game, the Sandbox, which is live since 6 years now and has over 40 million players to date. And we're taking it with a new version on the blockchain, where we allow creators to turn their creation into non-fungible tokens, having the benefits of the true ownership and the capacity to monetize their content on different marketplaces and exchanges.
And your game Sandbox already exists since
2012 on mobile, iOS, Android as a 2D game, and now we are moving to new realms, making a 3D multiplayer version. So essentially, we are building a Minecraft on the blockchain where creators can finally monetize and own what they do.
So it's an existing product, and in the new version, you leverage the blockchain, right?
Yes, and our existing community of creators as well.
Maybe we can turn to Christophe. Can you tell us in 1 minute about your project also?
Yes, hi everybody, I'm Christophe Doré, so I'm co-founder of MoneyTrack. I found that with Truffle Capital, a French VC, and I spend most of my career in payment industry. And what we do is developing and providing a solution on blockchain for insurance compensation or consumer credit to control and monitor small amount of money.
So you monitor how people use the money that either insurance companies or credit corporations provide to people, right?
Yes, correct. The problem is how you be sure as an insurance or as a bank that the money you give to your customer is properly used, because sometimes the bank give you some money, for example, to buy a TV, but you
You
reimburse.
gamble with it.
You can use to reimburse another credit, for example, and this is risky for the bank. So we provide a solution for that.
Okay, for tracking. Okay. And my last guest is Max Lyadvinsky. You're working with Bloomio. Can you tell us what Bloomio is and how it is different from traditional companies in your sector?
Okay, my name is Maxim Lyadvinsky. I'm CEO of Bloomio. What we do, we create a crowdfunding platform that connects startups and investors. And unlike many other crowdfunding platforms, what we do, we tokenize equity. We allow any startup or any SME to come to us, and we will issue crypto tokens, crypto tokens for these startups, and these crypto tokens will be distributed between potential crowd investors. This is what we do.
Thank you very much. So as you see, my guests are not issuing another cryptocurrency, but they are more using blockchain or the blockchain components to provide some features or new features in the business that they are involved in. And I guess as much as you, I'm not really a big fan of blockchain bullshit, of people that put blockchain in any project. So I will now want to really understand in your specific use case why you used blockchain and what is the feature or the fundamental feature of blockchain that you guys are leveraging and that justify that it's not a blockchain bullshit project and you could not have done it without the blockchain. Who wants to start? Iouri, maybe?
Okay. I can start with maybe one recent case in the French news. There was a lot of controversy about Jersey, which was or was not from the famous player Zinedine Zidane. And it's very hard to prove the ownership of a very valuable item. The items that we are addressing are items from games, and gamers are ready to spend a lot of money for these items. Like one skin of a sniper in the game Counter-Strike was sold at 60,000 USD because it was owned by the champion of the league, of the Boston League. So for these kind of items that players and esports fans find very valuable, blockchain is the pretty much only way to prove the ownership and the history by using non-fungible tokens on the blockchain. So we are working on Ethereum, but of course, I mean, non-fungible tokens are present all over the place.
So you use the fact that on a blockchain you can track things, and also the fact that the blockchain is immutable, so there's no way people can cheat.
Exactly. Right? So it's a trustless way to write on data, and which is decentralized and which proves the ownership, the origin, and of course can include some metadata about the history and the usage, for example.
Sebastien?
In our case, in our particular case, we're a user-generated content game, which means that all the content is being made by the players. In our two first mobile game, we have over 70 million creations. And so there's two essential quality of blockchain and non-fungible tokens that we are really leveraging for the new sandbox, which are the ownership, like Iouri said. It's very important when you create something that you feel that it's your very own and it's not going to become the property of a centralized company and you cannot use it any way you like. And the second thing is the scarcity as well. So imagine it's like any craft art, so you can spend literally hours or days to make 3D blocks creations, and if you decide I want to make only 100 of them available in total and for a lifetime, we want to have the capacity to track that and provide a trustable proof of it.
So blockchain gives you adds trust to the system, and
it adds
gives users
ownership, the trust for the scarcity, and the last part I think in blockchain gaming that's really relevant is also how cryptocurrencies are much more liquid in terms of receiving payment versus traditional in-app purchases, where it's just $1 or $5 or $10, and it's very hard to have anything in the middle.
Precisely talking about liquidity, I want to give the voice to Max right now, and we come back to Sebastien afterwards. Can you tell us a little bit more about your project, how you'll really leverage blockchain, and I guess it has to play with liquidity precisely.
Okay, for sure, our project can run without blockchain because there is a lot of crowdfunding platforms that do that. But blockchain allows us to increase the number of investors because dealing with thousands of investors for one startup is just a nightmare. And what we do, we move our register of investors to the ledger. And if this ledger is recognized by regulators, this is what we are doing right now. In this case, the life is much easier. We do not have a lot of paperwork to do, and everything will just happen in smart contracts. And also, blockchain allows us to create crypto exchange for SMEs. Our security tokens from different startups or small companies can be traded in our exchange, and this is not possible without blockchain, just because, again, a lot of paperwork, a lot of audit, etc. It must be done in a normal way if you do not use blockchain. But with blockchain, especially if you are regulated and recognized by a regulator, it is much easier.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Maxim. Since we talked to prepare this roundtable, I understood a little bit more about Bloomio, and I now truly think, and I'm not, advertising for you, but that Bloomio could be the optimal trade-off between an ICO where people can, invest, but they don't necessarily have venture capital skills to do it and to select the right project. So you would be the good trade-off between ICO and traditional venture capital, where you have to just trust a bunch of guys that may be skilled, but maybe not.
Actually, we do not position ourselves as an ICO provider because for a startup, we will look more like traditional venture capital fund, because startup will have just one investor, Bloomio. But what Bloomio does, it creates security tokens, and it will issue security tokens on behalf of Bloomio, and this is how we protect startups from all these regulatory complexities, and they do not need to prepare their own ICO. They can come just to us, and we will do this token issuance for them. And but unlike ICOs, what we do, we actually use equity we take equity from startups. We do not support ICOs with utility tokens, but we look more traditional for startups. If they want equity funding, then we can help.
Well. Okay, I guess that the future of ICOs might be related to an addition of security tokens on top of current utility tokens that are the vast majority of products.
True. And we actually thought about adding additional features to our security tokens. For example, what we could do with our security tokens, we could add some insurance functionality when if startup goes bankrupt, security token will still cost some money because of some insurance features that are bound to this security token. So you can invent more features here.
You're interesting my company now. Good. Sebastien, same question for you. Christophe, sorry. Again? But I'll come back to you, Sebastien, I promise. Christophe, same question for you. How do you guys leverage the blockchain? How can you justify that you guys are using this technology and you would not have been able to do it without blockchain?
Okay, I hope I can interest your company too. What we do is when you want to control the money, actually, the bank or the insurance use paper used. They ask you to send you the receipt or the copy of the bill. So the business is already existing, but it's costly or it's totally inefficient. A lot of fraud, and you know that in insurance, cost of fraud is very huge. So we use a blockchain because if you think about it, when you direct the money, which is our job, you, as a financier, you give money to a beneficiary, and the beneficiary has to spend it in a merchant network, your partner. So you share information of payment, you digitize the transaction, and you have to instill trust. And with these 3 points, it's a blockchain use case. You can do it without blockchain, but you do it with paper, which is very, very inefficient and costly. That's why we use blockchain.
And by the way, you guys are using the Tezos blockchain?
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on,
proud of
are the
it.
Beatles reunited, or what happened to the project first? And why the hell did you choose this new blockchain?
So, this is a good question. I'm proud to announce that we will be one of the very first business application of Tezos. 1 year ago, when we were working hard on this project, Tezos was not launched, but we knew, because we are working closely with researchers, academic researchers, French academic researchers, who play key role in Tezos launch. And they developed the mainnet and they developed the prototype. We know that they have some issue, but the issue will end it soon. And Tezos, from my point of view, and the point of view of my CTO, is the third generation of blockchain. The first one was Bitcoin, the second one was Ethereum, and there's a third generation coming. Tezos is one of them, with Cardano, with EOS. But Tezos have something very special. It's formal verification of smart contract, which is very, very important for our business. With Tezos, you've got a safe and clean runtime environment for your smart contracts. So you can ensure the privacy and the high number of transactions you can launch in your blockchain on Tezos. But most important, in our team, because we developed the blockchain MoneyTrack with the academic researchers, and because these guys work in Tezos, that was making sense that we launch the business on Tezos, because these guys developed Tezos, so they know how it works, and they are very expert in the code, in the development of smart contract, and all the environment of Tezos, the safety environment of Tezos.
Right, thank you. So I want to talk about, now that we have understand the project, how they leverage the blockchain, I guess the common point between all your projects is the fact that you all have non-fungible tokens. So I want to talk about this a little bit. So first of all, what is fungibility? Fungibility is a feature that allows one item to be exactly the same as another item. So for example, the typical example of fungibility is coin. A €1 coin is the same as the €1 coin that is in the pocket of my neighbor. So this is the case for Bitcoin, and here we have the exact opposite. For GamerToken, for example, one skin that one player will have will not be the same as another skin. For Pixowl, I guess that's the same. For MoneyTrack, the same. One insurance claim is not the same as another one, and therefore the token is different. And for Max, I guess that's the same also. So I kind of understand that you guys are talking about non-fungible tokens, and my question is it the next wave of blockchain innovation? Potentially there was different blockchain at the beginning, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. Second, we had ICO. Is non-fungible token the next wave? Maybe Sebastien, you can talk about that?
We are really strong advocates of NFTs, more specifically into gaming.
So NFT,
non-fungible tokens, that's the acronym already. You learned something new today, or not? Let's see. Why we love NFTs is because, as you said, they are non-intangible, they are unique, they can be scarce, they can be traded on marketplaces where people can buy, sell them. And they are not specifically attached or confined to a single dApp or game in our case. They can be used cross-chain, cross-platform, cross-dApps. What this means concretely that any developer or any user who have this ownership of this NFT could decide to use it in other ways than what the original creator intended to do. For example, this is what we call second layer programmability for the NFTs, and we can, what it means concretely is that it can bring more utility and more value to those tokens beside what was the original idea of it.
All right. You want to add something,
Yeah,
Sebastien?
for me, there is a confusion. In our case, it's not a non-fungible token, it's just non-fungible money, which is different because the token is a transaction, but the money is carried by the transaction. And make the difference about it. It's non-fungible in MoneyTrack use case because there is condition attached on the money, but it's still money, it's still a transaction. And there is something very simple. It's a utility token because I owe you something with this token. I owe you my compensation, my insurance compensation. I owe you your consumer credit with this condition. But the token is just a transaction. And just to make a bridge with your sentence and said, is that bullshit or not? This is not bullshit because it already exists with non-fungible voucher, paper, you know.
Right, precisely. Yeah, you want to add something?
Yeah, what we love in the non-fungible tokens is that it adds a very interesting use case for all the whole gaming industry, and it's not about being a cryptocurrency or just a store of value. It's about this true ownership and tracked history. It doesn't mean that every skin or item will be different. It just means that every skin or item will have its own history that can be also written in the blockchain. And this is also something that big established game developers who are still a little bit cautious about blockchain will see as a big opportunity for additional unique content, for additional monetization, and for leveraging these secondary transactions that are at the moment happening on the black market.
So you're bringing the concept of diversity in the blockchain economy. I guess that's good because it will be different than diversity in the corporate bullshit that we have today. So that's great. I'm using too much bullshit, I guess, today, so I'm going to stop that. There was a time, guys, and maybe you can keep the mic, Iouri. There was a time when Bitcoin was, was a utopia. Bitcoin was a dream. Bitcoin was disruption. And you guys, you're working with partners. I mean, you have partners in development. Sebastien, your partners are banks and insurers. Come on, guys. Is it the end of, the disruption? Are you bending the knee towards the old-fashioned capitalism?
I would actually ask why working with partners would be contradictable to a disruption. All the industries and all the companies that disrupt some industries all work with partners, or they don't do it alone. As one person, you cannot create something that will evolve the current state. So yes, indeed, we work with partners on the technical side, and also with game publishers to bring the best to the gamers. And it's a whole gaming. It's a whole ecosystem, and you cannot change the things alone. You need partners for that.
That's a good question that's a good answer to my question. Thank you, Iouri. I want to. I think we don't have a lot of time left. I want to, before we ask audience questions, I want to ask Maxim a question. Max, we are today in Paris, France, the land of Bruno Le Maire, this magical minister that, allowed France to be the front runner on top of all other countries. We have a strong lead. And what do I discover? You guys are not established in Paris, you're in Malta? What happened to you? What's the status
more
concretely, can you tell us about the different regulations and which one is better for which one is better for you, which one is better for the blockchain itself?
Okay, we started 1 year ago. We started in Switzerland, and we were hoping that we can do everything from Switzerland, and we were happy to start talking to FINMA. And then we have realized that we do not have enough money to talk to FINMA, because FINMA replied that for our kind of activities we need a banking license. And then we thought that probably Switzerland is not the best place, and we started to look for other places. And we looked to Liechtenstein, we looked to Abu Dhabi, and we looked at Malta as well. We haven't heard about France doing some blockchain laws, but probably if we would know, we would know about that. We would thought about, we would think about France as well. And finally, different countries have different rules, but what we have learned, regulators, they do not understand how to regulate us correctly, and they learned from us about some things. For example, in Abu Dhabi, they wanted to take our use case as some primary use case for any crowdfunding platforms doing security tokens. But finally we realized that Malta at this particular moment is the best place because they have pretty clear rules for ICOs and for virtual assets, and they have accepted recently the blockchain law that will be enforced the 1st of November. So this country is much easier for us to start operations at this particular moment. But I would like to be in Paris for sure. So
you don't have to apologize.
I'm sure you can be based in Paris. We are based in Paris and we don't want to move. In Paris, you've got a wonderful ecosystem of researchers in mathematics and cryptography. Blockchain is only mathematics and cryptography. Guys from INRIA, from CNRS are, one of the best in the world, and they are Paris-based. And if you think about it, investors like regulation. They like regulation because it's very clear and they know where they invest. And I think if French government give a very clear framework for taxes, for everything, we will have a lot of people based in Paris working in blockchain. I'm sure about it.
Thank you. And that optimistic sentence ends our roundtable. We still have a few minutes for audience questions. Please, those who want to ask a question, stand up. No question?
Sing it, maybe.
You guys are digesting. Okay, maybe I have, you have a question? Yeah.
What about quantum computing?
What do you mean by quantum computing?
How is that going to affect blockchain?
Okay, do you guys have an answer? Because I asked that question to someone at Blockstream, so I could answer, but Iouri?
I'm not an expert in the field, but it's true that it's going to add a lot of, let's say, exponential growth in the computing power. So blockchains will have to be adapted to that because it will be easier to hack some blocks, especially if it's blocks that are relatively recent. I think it's the whole, let's say, ecosystem that's going to evolve, but I'm confident that blockchain will adapt very well to these evolutions, and so will blockchain gaming.
So one guy from Blockstream told me that he understood that it could be a problem after 2030. Maybe he's pessimistic, maybe it's going to be sooner. The only thing we need to know about quantum computing is that if it has an impact on how systems will resist, if I were you, I would be a little bit more cautious about how it will affect the banking system, the login to your internet bank account, for example. And Bitcoin will be just a small you know, a small story compared to all the damage that could be done in the rest of the economy. So I think quantum computing is a real issue. We need to adapt to it. But I think the whole industry, whole financial industry needs to adapt to it, and the implication or the consequences will be much more massive in the rest of the economy than in blockchain. And I as Iouri said, we are equipped to adapt with Bitcoin improvement proposals, for example, for the Bitcoin blockchain. So blockchains can adapt to it, and they have also a governance to adapt to it. And there are also projects that are precisely quantum-proof blockchains. You guys want to add something about it? No? A last question? No. 6 seconds left. So thank you very much for listening to us.